Hello guys in the Art of War community. Welcome to another segment of our interview. In this interview, we talk a lot with Erebus. He tell us more about his clan, um, why his clan, keeps on, doing very well each and every season. That's the secret to his clan success. He also talks about the UN movement, its purpose for players alike, and other important, questions from players. He answered them very well. We hope you can watch this interview. It might be helpful for your clan. It might be helpful for you in Arena and the game as a whole. Please remember to leave a like or subscribe to our channel after watching this video. Enjoy. So welcome Erebus to the Art of War interview, and we are very happy to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. How was your day, by the way?
Hey, so far so good. Been at it
All right.
about 2.5 hours now. So it's 8:30 in the morning here.
Oh. Thank you for your time. Like 8:30. I'm very sure you have other things to do, but you decided to give us your time. Okay.
Glad to do it.
All right. Have you been in Discord this morning?
Just a little bit, not much.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we will get straight into the interview, and this interview is divided into 3 sections. The first part is about yourself, second is about your clan, and of course the third is questions from players, right? So the first part, our first question is where are you from?
I'm from I'm in the Greenville, North Carolina area, which is about an hour from the coast is the best way to describe it. Southeastern US. So it's born and raised, moved around a lot when I was working in private industry. Ended up back here. It's just home.
Nice. And your next question is, what do you do for a living?
So I'm in higher ed administration. I'm one of the senior administrators at a community college. Kind of a long and winding path to get here. Did 10 years at a software development company right after I graduated from college. Was a part owner in that, got tired of the rat race, sold it. Started over my career here at the college as a systems administrator, wanting no responsibility. Did that for a year or so, then moved just every couple of years. I bounced up, moved to a director of infrastructure. Then I did 4.5 years as the chief information officer. And then I moved into this role. And right now I'm over, in addition to IT, I've got campus police, legal, inventory control, facilities, and new construction. So it's if it breaks, it's in my area to fix it. So it's a fun time. Biggest thing to me is that I feel like what I'm doing makes a difference.
Okay. That's good. That's an impressive, career. That's an impressive journey, I would say. Well done.
Thanks.
Well done. So our next question is, do you have any hobbies, like, things you like to do at your free time you want to share with us, our community?
So, and it goes back to what I almost did for a living. I thoroughly enjoy tearing things apart, putting them back together. Growing up, I raced go-karts. My original plans in high school and early college, I actually worked my way through college as a mechanic. Had planned to move from here to go to Charlotte, which is the home of NASCAR. So I've got my main truck that my daily driver, but then I've got a couple of cars that I tear apart and play with and stuff like that. And right now I'm looking for a classic somewhere in the 60s to rebuild. That's my goal. I've got a son that's 15 getting ready to turn 16. So hoping to find something to rebuild with him and teach him a little bit of that stuff.
Okay. That's cool. You just love to tear things up and then rebuild them again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
All
then
right.
really the only other thing or the other hobby I've got is I do resin work. I've posted some pictures in the Discord before where you just take epoxy resin and make designs and do some stuff with that. So I've done some pretty intricate work there. It's fun.
Yeah, it sounds fun, to be honest. Now we go to the next question is, well, aside from this, do you have like any other thing, like, about yourself that maybe you like to, tell the community aside from this,
So I guess it kind of falls back to how I fell into Art of War and the Discord and the entire community was, a lot of us fell into it when COVID hit. And, we had the COVID confine and we needed something to kill the time. So we got in there, and then I met several people I didn't know before this and have made some really good friends. And that's, the thing for me, the reason I'm involved is because I like the player base. I like the folks that are there. But there's a lot that goes on that you don't see as far as players leaning on each other, talking to each other. Honestly, if it hadn't been for a couple of folks, I'd have dropped out. Probably last October. I had some personal stuff going on. So just to reach out, talk to some people if you got some stuff going on, and then just try to have a little bit of compassion. That's the thing that drives me. I realize that sometimes as a mod, people are wondering why I'm throwing mutes or warnings or stuff like that, and it's just there's stuff going on behind the scene there that you've got to pay attention to.
Yeah. I really understand. I can feel that. Yeah. And I'm glad that at least the community, because of the community, you're able to, stay, and you're able to, lean on some folks and all that, and which is really good. And we are happy to hear that. All right. Yeah. So we'll go straight to, your clan to talk a little bit about your clan. So history of RGR, right? Can you tell us about the RGR clan, about its creation, that is when it was created and why it was, created in the first place?
Yeah. I came in, I guess it was season 3 that RGR had existed. And honestly, that was when I was actually about to drop out of the game. The player base there wants to be competitive. But the focus on that was just they were looking for an environment that was hopefully would be less drama. The creation of it did cause some hard feelings, but it was made for, and it's what's kept us successful. Is it was made for players that want to have fun first and foremost. We want to play competitive, but we rely on each other. We lean on each other inside and outside of the game. Wow. It's, a lot of people talk about clan families. And I've been in online gaming and tied to clans, groups, whatever you want to call them. This is the closest thing to family I've ever seen. I've had friends in RGR reach out because they noticed the tone of my messages in the chats there were changing. Wow. So, real life creeps up. So, everybody's got something going on. I've had stuff going on, and there've been a couple of people there that have said, "Hey, you want to chat?" And we'd hop on a phone call or a voice chat, and you sit there and you start a voice chat at 7 o'clock at night. And next thing you know, you look down and it's 2 a.m. and you're wondering where all the time went. So it's just it's that family atmosphere that we're looking for. We don't. I know a lot of people are going to call BS on this statement, but we're not recruiting just for player strength. For player strength. We're looking for players when we recruit. And I say recruit when we bring people in. We're looking for fit. and it's done by the entire community there. You know, I think we're at 92 players right now out of the two families that we've got there, or the two clans that we've got there. Everybody gets a say. You know, if somebody's got a concern about a prospect, bring it up and discuss it. But we've also got some folks that, I mean, I've been seen as volatile at times, others have. You get in that environment where it's supportive, and the entire dynamic changes for some of those guys. And then we focus on helping people be the best that they can be with the tools that they've got.
Wow. So that's more like a family, just not just a clan, like that's a family, you know, that's a family. It goes way beyond the game.
Yeah. Yeah,
right.
Very much so.
All right, that's good. Funny, interestingly, yesterday I was telling a colleague of mine that since I've been in Discord, I'm kind of, you know, getting attached to Discord and the community. Like, you know, I'm getting to know people, and it feels like, you know, the feeling is kind of mutual among people in the clan, which is really great.
Yeah.
So, your next question is, it's about, you know, RGR, right? It's quite new or young, but it's one of the top clans in our game. What's the secret behind this clan, and how come you guys perform so well collectively and as of all Arena every season, like every single season, literally?
Yeah. So, I mean, the secret goes back to, I mean, the secret is there is no secret. I mean, and it goes back to what I was mentioning, the family thing there. So I mean, it's an international clan. We've got players from all over the place. So the Discord there is very rarely silent. And I mean, we talk about all kinds of random stuff, but there's also a focus on the game. We've got guys that all they do is they test their hero day after day after day after day. They're the specialist in that one. They know that one. And we share those forms throughout. I've been in leadership for a while now. I hadn't seen, we had one spot where we had put some forms that were being developed right after level 10s dropped. That was the only time we had a room that the entire player base wasn't privy to. And that was just for a few days. And I mean, it caused some concern in the clan, just because it was, hey, we're founded on no secrets. We're not going to have a secret room where, hey, these, you know, the top 10 players get to go in this room and chat and build the forms. And it's from player number 1 down to player number 92. Everybody's got the same access to the forms. That way, you know what you're working for, you know what you're trying to build for. You know, if you've just leveled up, let's say you just leveled up Zeus to 15, and you want to look at, you need to know the troops that go along with it before you drop the money into that purchase. Same thing if you're looking at building up Alley or something like that. You know the troops that go along with it before you start making that hero investment. So you know what your barracks work with. And then I'd be remiss to say, I mean, we do have some of the brightest minds in the game that understand the mechanics of it better than anybody else I've ever seen.
I think this is going to, you know, bring so many issues.
I mean, I don't think anybody would argue with that. I mean, we do have some of the brightest minds in the game. You know, you look at, I don't think anybody would argue with me that Civ Engineer is, one, he's a Southern gentleman beyond being a Southern gentleman. I mean, he's just a generally nice and good guy, but he's a brilliant player. I don't know anybody else that can play the game. There are very few people that can play the game like he does. He understands what works for his troops. He understands how to read the defenses of other players. He's always at the top.
You want to share his name?
Civ Engineer.
Oh, okay.
He's been a seasoned champ several times. I mean, he's in addition to being great with Art of War, he's just a generally nice guy. So, you know, we've got some of those guys. You look at look, I'm not in the top 10, you know, but look up there. And I mean, there's guys that are, and some of the ladies that are always in that top 50 group. You've got Slick, Ninja, those guys. I mean, they understand the mechanics of the game. Linchpin is up there. He's a new addition, but I mean, to RGR. But I mean, it's those guys that I know some people are going to scream that it's Visa and MasterCard, but it was the same thing when level 9s were out there. You know, I mean, same thing when level 8s were out there. You know, the guys understand the mechanics of the game and they study. I mean, we go through the interclan battles. I'd be willing to bet that our players burn through every single one of those and probably the gym hits in those every day during the season. Maybe not the last couple of days, but it's that level. I mean, it's not a job. We're doing it for fun. We're doing it for that rush on the last 2 days of the season. But it's that level of dedication, not just to see ourselves work better. It's we'll go in and I mean, it's, hey, I just stood up this defense. Can somebody hit it? And next thing you know, you've got 4 different people that are showing you the video results of what their offense did to it. So it's just that level of collaboration that I've seen it in other clans, but it goes deeper.
Okay. So I think you said you guys don't have any secret, but I think I know the secret now. And maybe I'll share with the community later. I think I know the secret. All right, so we go to our next question. Which is, how do you manage this clan? You know, did you do it alone, or are there other players who play important roles in the management of this clan? You know.
Yeah. So I mean,
mention their names, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to miss anybody here, so let me pull up the Discord. But it is very much. I'm going to go with the phrase, it's a republic. You know, I mean, we've got Celtic as the general. He's the main guy. He puts in all the long hours and all the dedication and all of that. But I mean, we've got other leadership in there as well. I mean, it's very, very split up. You've got we went with a Western thing, but I mean, the captains and lieutenants, we've each got some different roles that we take on. I mean, Queenie manages our Discord, does a good job of keeping that in order, the roles assigned, all of that. I mean, with 92 people, that's a whole lot of work to make sure that everybody's hero is set up in there so you can get pings for specific forms and stuff like that. We've got Saboteur and Stacy Lee do the majority of the vetting of prospects and talking to people that want to join RGR. Vader is a huge asset for us because he does we've got a statistics channel. Wow. Every season it gets published, you know, where you ranked, how you did, ups and downs, stuff like that. So I mean, you can look and see, hey, am I trending up? Am I trending down? And then it can be tied back to, hey, where was the meta shift this season? You know, if some players shot up, some players shot down, we can go back and look and say, hey, you know, Celine was the dominant hero this go round, or Ali was the dominant hero here, and that's why these players were jumping up and down. But also, you know, if somebody's just gradually dropping, you can reach out and say, hey, and I mean, Celtic's good for sending you get the, hey mate, how's it going? And you're like, oh, Dad's noticed something's going on here. So it's just that's pretty much kind of how it runs. But I mean, others reach out as well. So it is a very collaborative environment. It took us, and I'll mention it because I'm sure somebody out there is going to wonder, when RGR was formed, there was no intention of having a second clan ever. I think that may have actually been put in the bylaws. We were going to be 50 players. It took us 2 months of debate back and forth in the clan.
That's a lot of time.
50 people going at it off and on to figure out, you know, did we want to do this? It was, you know, you're going from from 50 people that are tight knit to 100, that changes things. It changes the dynamic. So, you know, did we want that cultural change in the clan? And at the same time, we had folks that, I think COVID was opening up and summer was here and we had vacations. And I mean, we're playing at a top level. It's stressful. I get it. We've had people that joined and thought they wanted to be in there and then they dropped out. They were like, I don't feel right being in here with you guys. We try to make sure that never happens, but it does. So we added OTL Outlaws. Our view is it's one and the same, where we move back and forth freely. RGR is focused on winning the clan comp. We're focused on getting OTL just as high as it can get. But it's, you know, we move back and forth in that. And that's the strength there, because work for me the past week has been insane. I haven't been able to get all my arena hits in. Rather than being in a clan with just 50 players and dragging them down, I'm able to move over to OTL and the guys in there that are able to get all 50 hits and that are able to rank higher can move up to RGR, and it keeps that clan running. It's the same premise that, you know, RIP, R2P, RP3, Royal, Regals, Aristocrats. It's the same basic premise that a lot of them did. Our hope was we wouldn't need but 50 players, and the dynamics of the game have shifted. So we needed it to be competitive, but we also needed it to give some of our guys some downtime. You know, if I want to take a 2-week vacation and go, for me, I go to the mountains and there's no cell signal, I'm not going to be able to do attacks. I need a season off. Well, does that mean I get booted and then we had a wait list for a while and we caught junk for that. So that was our way to fix it. And it's been successful. We've picked up some really good folks, and it's a little bit more relaxed atmosphere now. At least for me, it is. I think a lot of folks will agree on that one.
All right. Thanks for sharing this with us. Mm-hmm. That's really detailed. Thanks. So now we'll go to the third part, right? Which is questions from players. This is one of the most interesting parts, if not the interesting, or let's say one of the most, I would say. Our first question is from Harry's Lord of Scholars, right? So the question is, what is your favorite troop and why this troop?
So I think based on his name, he's wanting me to lean towards Scholars being his favorite troop. I don't know that I have a favorite. Yasha always tickles me. And I put Yasha in my form, especially during the first couple of weeks, just because I like to watch the big dude roll around with his pitchfork and stun people. And just it makes me giggle. So as far as the troops that are in my forms, every pelts are the dominant. And that they're in every form. As far as the troop that I have always liked and relied on, it would be ballistas. I've always had them in. So I always leaned on Davey. That was my first. I may have had Ivan, but Davey was my first. That was my first preferred hero. And I always ran a Davey form with, I think I had six ballista in it at one point, 6 to 8 ballista in it. It was just, that's always been a go-to troop for me. So don't nerf that one. Buff ballistas. Buff ballistas.
No, I'm not gonna nerf it. Well, why did you go with that troop though? Like ballistas and Davison, why do you go with those troops?
And this was before I had even, I played casual for a long time. But when I started to get a little bit more competitive, I recorded every single one of my attacks. And then when I would go in and look at, pre-battle report days, I would go in and watch that battle, and you could see the ballista when they would get tuned in on somebody, tuned in on one of the heroes, Shion or somebody. You could watch them taking chunks of health out. You could watch that health meter drop when they were attacking her. So that's kind of what I went for. And then just kind of watching how, it did a ton of damage right at the start. Even if they got nuked or taken out, they get those first couple of shots out and they're going through those rows. So that was one of the troops I kind of relied on first. And I mean, you got me through, I guess, level 5,000 is when I had started playing, somewhere in there. So it got me up there.
Okay. I guess you know. The next question is from Linchpin. I think he's from your clan.
He is. He joined us last season.
Yeah. So he says, who is your favorite player and why is it Linchpin? Oh, so yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So Linchpin is my favorite player that finished third in season 42. He's also the only player that finished third in season 42, but we'll leave that part out. I don't know that I've got a favorite player. Again, I mean, I fall back to the guys in the clan are like family, and ladies in the clan. I would get in trouble if I didn't just say the guys. But having been in Discord for forever and a day, it seems like. And then I started out, RIP was the first clan that I was in, then I was in NBA. And when I left NBA, I had all intentions of stopping out of the game, but then ended up in RGR. I've got too many favorites to name. I mean, Queenie is a big reason that I'm in RGR and still in the game. She noticed that I had some stuff going on. And I mentioned the phone call, the messages and stuff like that. I mean, she noticed something was up and she messaged and was like, hey, what's going on with you? I mean, I mean, everybody loves Queenie. She's just wide open and blunt as all get out. That's texting in her. But I mean, it was just, hey, what's going on with you? And I was like, I'm fine. And she beat it out of me. And it was, that was the level of friend that I needed at that point in time. And, I've got story after story after story of that, where folks in RGR have done that for various people we've reached out, we've talked. So I've been fortunate to be in some really good clans, to make some really good friends that have still got people in other clans that I don't hit. Just because I don't care if they attack me, but I can't bring myself to hit somebody that I look at as a friend. Like Hobbs is Royal, has been in Royal. I don't think I've ever hit Hobbs in arena during the second week. I may have hit him in the first week trying something out, but when it was competitive and points mattered, I just can't bring myself to hit him because he's a good guy. So I'm going to go with I don't have a favorite, or I have lots of favorites.
You have lots of favorites. Okay, we'll go with you have lots of favorites.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question is from USA, AMY 76. Explain the UN movement, right? And what we are trying to accomplish. That means what you guys are trying to accomplish for the players of this game. Why is this movement important to P2P and F2P players alike?
Yeah. So, and I'll give a brief history of it. So the level 17 heroes, level 10 troops came out. A lot of people started with the uproar and there was the screams that I'm going to quit. And to me, it was temper tantrums. I get that some folks were upset, but there was I do have a positive outlook on life, and try to keep things positive. And there was just too much toxicity and negativity going on at that point in time. Too much doom and gloom. Everybody was screaming that the sky was falling, the world was coming to an end. I started looking at data, and I started talking to folks that I've made relationships with on Discord, from the Art of War, from some of the other clans, saying, "Hey, what have you got? What are you actually seeing?" Instead of everybody saying that, everybody's packing up their bags and going home, is it just the one or two loud guys, or are you actually getting folks dropping out? What's going on? So I had some of those conversations, and then I put together some data. And then we're talking to a couple of guys from other clans about, hey, what are you seeing with this? Does my data look good? And then that's when I came into the UN server after it had actually been formed. And it was just we started out with a discussion of what do we need to keep the player base happy and to make it a productive environment and to keep things going forward. And there were the guys that wanted to pick up the pitchforks and riot. And they were the guys that were just like, it's going to be what it's going to be. But then there was the bigger body of the group that was like, hey, if we can open up some discussions, if we can have some talks with some of the folks at Art of War, my belief is, you guys are making the best game. You're trying to make the best game that you can for the players.
Thank you.
I don't think anything that has been done has ever been done to punish in a negative light or anything like that. It's always to keep the game moving forward. But there's also iterations. There's steps that have to be made that we don't know the reasoning behind. So that was kind of the purpose, was to figure out, hey, can we open up some discussions so people see the light at the end of the tunnel? Hey, if you just sit down and do the raw numbers, it's like, hey, this is going to take me forever. But then after having talked to FamCell and to Muppa and to Bow and some of the others out there, it's like, hey, we've got some stuff that's coming that's going to help with that. Just be patient. And then, the other thing really is that there's multiple ways to play the game. You can be free to play, but you're really not going to, somebody's going to be mad that I say it, but free to play is not going to be able to immediately catch up with the guys that are willing to drop tons of cash in the game. I hadn't seen it in any other game out there. I don't know why it would be different here. But the UN was formed just so we could start some discussions, and it's got a similar mission to the Clan Council, where we just want to get together, discuss with Art of War staff and the development staff to say, hey, here's what we're seeing. Here's what we feel would be a benefit. What can we do to make these changes, or how can we meet these needs? I think you're in the negotiations channel in there. You would see I've tried very hard not to make specific suggestions, just because I don't know what you guys have planned in the future. And if you start trying to change that base economy of the game, hey, give me this, give me this, give me this, it's got the potential to break it. So I view the UN's role, I view my role within the UN as just presenting you guys with, hey, this is what we're seeing. And then if somebody asks, or if we go in there, we will make some, they did ask, hey, what's this? What would you suggest? Then we'll go in with a little bit more specific. But I've got the understanding, having been in and around software development I didn't realize until I just was thinking about it for 27 years. It doesn't happen overnight. and you guys have the data and the roadmap and know what's going on. So we've just, as long as we're getting some responses, and we are, we can just work together. And to me, that's the whole purpose of the UN, is to get representatives of the player base. Had no idea it would grow like it did, but get some of the voices in there through. I mean, it's funneled up. You've got representatives from the clans that are relaying it, but get some of those voices and concerns, because I'm not free to play. My daughter is. She's been out. I mean, she's played for a while. She's got the heroes, but I don't know what it's. I have an idea because I was, but I don't know what it's like to be free to play in this environment right now. So it's getting the discussion going, so we can relay that back to the devs, so we can have some conversations.
Okay, awesome. At least, more detailed explanation of, you and your purpose. Right, that's cool. Now, the third question is from Rus, RUS, Urban Kids, right? Or he says, please tell us how the UN movement. Okay, I think I've asked you this question. It's like he and then the first person, they have similar questions. So I think I've asked you that question. So I'll move on. Okay, so the next question is from Why Not? What is the inspiration behind Stitch as your avatar, and what got you into art?
So can I answer with why not? So
yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? So I started out. So I was old. I'm just going to go with old. I was over 40 when I got my first tattoo. And I got that tattoo for my son after he had been through chemotherapy. And I got it when he was officially 2 years cancer free at that time. After that, my daughter at the time was like, hey, you got a tattoo for him. Where's mine? So then I got a tattoo for my daughter. And then I've always collected, and I don't know if you can see any of it, and it doesn't really show very well in the background, but I've got Stitch figurines and stuffed animals and stuff scattered all over my office. And just kind of the story behind it, just like Stitch. So I ended up with a Stitch tattoo on my forearm.
You wanna maybe
and then it just kind of,
You wanna maybe show it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the.
Oh wow. That's cool. This is for the Art of War community to see.
Yeah. So I wound up with that tattoo, and then as far as the art side of it, I've drawn and colored and painted and done something creative off and on for years, as long as I can remember. So I had an iPad, I had the Apple Pencil. I was sitting there doodling one day, and ended up drawing Stitch. And it's just like, hey, that would be neat to put up. And it just kind of spiraled from there. So then, I go out, I'll search, I'll find something that I like, and I'll redraw it, put my tweaks and spin to it, and it just goes from there. So I don't know, I think I've done probably 40 or 50 different Stitch avatars. So it's fun. It's something to take the mind off and relax a little bit, get away from work.
Okay. All right. I think you've really explained Why Not's question very well, and he will be impressed by the whole story behind it. Right. So we go to our next person, or our next player, Predzz. I hope I got the name well. Predzz, right? He says, what is your truthful opinion on the game itself? Such as, if it wasn't for the Discord community outside of Chatterbox, would it still be playing? And is the game drawing you in in enough to keep you entertained, right? So I think his question is a lot. So we will just take the first two and then we'll continue after maybe you answer.
Okay. So for me, I think part of the draw, Chatterbox and the Art of War, I'm going to just say the Art of War sponsored Discord. That's part of the draw for me in the game. I mean, I enjoy the game a lot, but I don't know that I would put the hours into it that I have if it wasn't for the social aspect around the Art of War discourse. It was the same for me. It was very similar years and years ago when the Division was first out, or I won't say first out, but when the Division by Ubisoft was out. Same similar type thing. I got involved in a clan. It was the friendships there that kind of kept you involved, kept you playing. And I really don't want to know how many hours I have in either game, to be honest. But you know, that's what keeps me going. Part of it is that, I mean, it's the friendships there. It's the fun, the relaxed trash talk to some degree. I mean, some of it gets a little bit over the top, but for the most part, the vast majority of it is in good fun. And that's a part of it. You know, it's especially in a time when COVID had everybody locked down and you couldn't go out to the bars and interact and trash talk there. It provided an outlet for that. So.
Okay. That's really good to know, you know. So I guess you've kind of even answered the whole question. You know, you've kind of answered the whole question because his follow-up question was, is it Art of War that keeps you playing, or is it RGR and Art of War is a byproduct? You know, what do you feel? I think the next question would be, what do you feel the priorities of game development is? That is player happiness, community input, fair to play, free to play, player base, and wide community as a whole, or is focused on a small proportion of the community who spend both loads, what he terms as whales, right? And have you any major concerns raised by the vast majority of player base? No. Question is quite complicated. Have any major concerns raised by the vast majority of player base been addressed, or mainly Bandid fixes and listening to top 100 players?
As far as the priorities for game development, the number one thing I have always seen, and it's, to me, it's the sign of a good team and good development, is bug fixes. You know, any time that I have found an issue and sent documentation and sent concerns in, I've usually gotten a pretty quick response, and it's been addressed as quickly as possible. And I'm going to put emphasis on the as quickly as possible, just because some things are extremely complex in there. You change one thing and it has a domino effect. We've seen it several times. As far as what he was pointing out, you know, the player happiness, community input, to me, and I mean, somebody's going to call me a sellout, I'm sure, but I think there's a balance there. I have seen stuff that was done that players have requested. Some of the balancing of heroes. Now, I mean, some people want their hero buffed. Some people want the other heroes nerfed. Yeah. To me, right now, the game's as balanced hero-wise as it has, and it was balanced before the 17s and 10s came out. That balance there is as good as it has ever been that I can remember. And that took some effort. You know, I mean, it took some effort to shift away from the alley meta that everybody loved to hate. if you had Alley, you loved it. If you didn't have Alley, you hated it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a struggle to get into the top. But yeah, I mean, I see a pretty good balance. To me, a prime example of the focus on quality and player satisfaction was Infinity Wars. It was released. To me, it sparked a lot for me. I don't know how many hours I put into Infinity War Day. It probably was not on the healthy side as far as sleeping goes, but I mean, it was new and exciting. It sparked a lot of interest with me and a bunch of the other players that were running up some of the bigger scores out there. But it had some issues. And you guys, instead of keeping something out there that was problematic, you said, hey, this is an issue, you pulled it, and you're fixing it, it's being reworked or being re-released. That to me was a sign that you've listened to community input, you're focused on player happiness. It's a combination of all things there. As far as there was the question, are they focused on free to play or whales? Again, to me, there's a balance there. You can, right now, my opinion, it takes too long, and I think some folks from Art of War agree. Starting out, it would take too long to reach a full army of level 10s and the level 17 heroes, but there's some adjustments that are coming. So to me, it's pretty balanced. You can invest the time, you can invest the money, you can play competitive, you can play casual. But you've also got to manage expectations. You can't roll in and play casual and expect to be, put an hour a day in the game for 2 months and expect to be a top 100 player either. So there's that. You've got to manage your expectations there. But prior to 17s and 10s being released, I would say there were probably 400 players easy that could be in the top 50 any given day. And that was the level of balance that a lot of people were happy with.
We're happy.
The new troops, new heroes got released. It's a grind. It's a journey, as some people have said. But if you don't have that, it gets stagnant to me. Sure, I would love to have my barracks like they were with 9s, all upgraded to 10s and all my heroes pushed up immediately. But I mean, there's the journey there. You got to have something to work towards in the game. Otherwise, honestly, for me, if I don't have that, I'll peace out. I'm done. So I don't think it's tailored to one or the other. I know there's it's all a matter of perception. If you're dropping tons of cash, then it's like, hey, why are they giving everything to these guys? I just dropped all this money. Why are they giving this away? And if you're free to play, it's like, hey, everything that they've done, I've heard that one too. Everything that they've done is tailored for the guys that are spending money. I'm like, there's some stuff that's been out. So, I mean, it's a balance. And to me, I think it's improving. You're responsive to the players, you're responsive to the community. Granted, I'm not in a whole lot of discourse. I don't know any other game that has the level of interaction from game administrators that Art of War does. you don't get that level of access at the vast majority of games. You've got community managers that stop at the gates, but they're so far removed from the development staff that they don't know what's going on. And you don't have that with Art of War. You've got actual access to people that can step right down the hall or jump on a call and say, hey, what's going on with this? And you get answers. That to me, just because of the tech side of it, that's impressive. And that's one of the reasons that I stick around.
All right. Awesome. We will continue. We promise to continue on that part and not, move away from that part. Once it makes the community happy and makes the game better, Now I have a question for you. This my personal question.
Okay.
And this is going to be a little bit, I don't know if it's going to be challenging to you, but I still want to know the answer. What is who is your favorite Out of War admin, like support manager? Yeah.
Wow. Can I say it depends on the day?
It depends on the day. Okay.
I have a lot of respect for everybody that I've interacted with.
Okay. That's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
With the exception of me, okay. With the exception of me. Let me take myself out.
Oh, well, I was going to say you, but now that you've pulled yourself from it, and my ADHD is going to show through here, but a lot of it depends on the topic or the question. Muppet is a really great friend of mine. He's checked in on me. We sit there and chat, and we chat about random stuff that's not anywhere related to Art of War. FamCell was one of the first that I really started diving into when I was seeing stuff that I thought was abnormal or bugs or issues, or I had questions on, hey, why is this working? So being able to kind of nerd out and talk tech in details with him was great. Sophia has always been fantastic. Extremely responsive, especially when coming in with when we were in the VIP servers and stuff like that. So I can't pick a favorite, to be honest.
Okay. I think you've already picked a favorite though. I think I heard you say you picked two, let's say Sophia and FamCell.
Yeah.
So okay, that's cool. So these are these are all the questions. But before, there's a special segment whereby you get to give a shout out. So you can maybe your clanmates or like just general people, the people that like about the community. So you can give a shout out to these people, and maybe you can even you have today, because you've been interviewed, you have the today you are more like, I don't know how to even put it, but you can give out free gems to three people, 500 gems. So you can mention them too.
Can I got to think on the 3 gems. I'll have to text you that one.
Okay.
Hey, as far as players to get shout out to, there's Queenie, of course, I mentioned. She's one of the main reasons I stayed in the game and have stayed sane through some stuff that I was going through. Predzz, as you mentioned, good friend from NBA. We've had some pretty good talks. I don't know that I would almost have to run through the entire clan list over at RGR as far as people that I owe favors to and that I feel indebted to. Celtic he puts in more hours than I can imagine doing clan management, and he does the clan council. He's always got time to check on people as well. If he hadn't heard from somebody for a couple of days, even if they're chatting in the main Discord, he shoots them a note. Same thing with a lot of the players in there. Like, again, Slick Ninja was one of the first guys when I joined RGR. When I actually had a decent set of barracks and a decent set of heroes, and didn't know what I was doing with them. And I mean, he took vested interest in me and helped me grow as a player. Saboteur, Stacy Lee, both of them do phenomenal jobs at picking people up, at helping people out. Vader, again, he's my favorite gypsy. Not sure he'll appreciate that one, but whatever. And then, you know, outside of the community, outside of RGR, you know, Pointy Tactic, Couch, we were longtime admins over in the VIP server, or mods in the VIP server. Had a lot of fun, had a lot of laughs. Lives got busy, so I don't know if Couch is playing anymore or not. I'm gonna miss way too many people. I should have sat down with a list and gone through it.
I guess to the whole community. You know.
Yeah, I mean, just the whole community. It's a fantastic group there. So I'll go with that one.
Okay. Thank you for, you know, the shout out, and for the gems, I'll be expecting to, you know, get the names from you. I'm sure people are going to text you like after I see this interview, sure. Like, did you mention my name? I didn't get any gems and all that. All right, so thank you for your time, and this we wrap up. Like, this is literally the end, and we want to say thank you for being in our community and, you know, playing our game and, you know, building RGR. I think you are one of the one of course there are many. You are one of the most important players to us, and we really appreciate this interview and your time. You know.
Thank you. So I greatly appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome.
Thanks.
Right.
Have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.
Art of War. Play now.